Hi everyone, welcome back to Puddinwood Avenue. My name is Bindi. So today I want to talk to you about something that's very special to me, and it's something that I've just come across very recently, and I think it's such an absolute worthy cause. It's the Miracle Babies Foundation. So the Miracle Babies Foundation, it started off in New South Wales, and it is a support community for premature babies and their families. So I have been in contact with them, and they've given me permission to be able to do a tutorial on how to make some premmie beanies. So there are, and I've just found another one. So my original idea was to make just a couple of beanies and get it, but to help out with this charity. I think it's an amazing organisation, and it supports parents of prenatal babies all around Australia. So I have asked for their permission. They've given it to me so that I can actually show you how to make these beanies. It is quite a legitimate organisation, charity. So it's Miracle Babies. This is the page that you're looking for. I'll link it down below, but it has knitting as well as crochet patterns. Click on those links and it will open up. And so this is one of the patterns, but I've printed them out myself and I've got them here in this lovely little folder. And we're going to have a look at the first lot of patterns, the ones that I've been working on. I've since found out just a week or so ago that there's actually a second pattern for these, a second crochet pattern for a different style of beanie. So we're going to I'm going to show you how to do this one, and it is a premature baby beanie in small. The pattern was created by Mariana's Lazy Daisy Days, and it's called a crochet Valerie. No, it's called a Valerie crochet baby hat. So giving full credit to the people who have designed this pattern. And so we've got the small size, and we've also got the pattern for the medium size. So when you're looking at these patterns, you need to be aware that they're actually written in UK terminology. Okay, so crochet has two languages. One is US, one is UK. I mainly work in US, but it's not a hard transition. But if you don't know which one it is, if there's no single crochet in here, it's usually a good indication that it's a UK. It's in UK terms, because UK doesn't have single crochet. Their single crochet is the American double crochet, and it just increments like that. So I'm going to show you how to make this particular pattern. I'll show you, I'll do two. I'll do one in the small and one in the medium, which is what I have made, and I haven't counted them yet. So I have a bag. Oh, there goes one on the floor. I've got to drop something, right? Okay, so I've got a bag full here. I haven't counted them. So we'll go down to the table. So as you can see, I'm sitting in my kitchen. We'll go down to the table. I'll show you how to make both the small and the medium, and then we might count how many I've got. I'll do another video on the other pattern, but I haven't made it yet, so I just want to make sure that I've got the tutorial right. And that tutorial is written in US terms, so it's a little confusing, which is why I wanted to do a tutorial to actually show you how to make them. So let's go down to the table and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so we're down at the table, and here are the printed patterns for the small version and medium version. I have in my little folder here. Now, something you need to remember is that this particular pattern is written in UK terminology. So in crochet, there are two different types of crochet language. One is UK, one is US. I normally work, now as an adult, I work in US terminology, but I actually learnt, being from Australia, I actually learnt in UK terminology. So for me, that transition between either or is not that hard. The easy thing to remember is if it does not have a single crochet, in a pattern, not always of course, because not every pattern has single crochet, but if it doesn't have single crochet somewhere, it's usually UK terminology, because, and this is what's going to throw you here, in UK terminology, TC is a treble crochet, but in US, it's a double crochet. In UK terminology, the DC is a double crochet, but that is actually, in the US, it's a single crochet. So you need to make sure that you know the difference and how to tell if a pattern is written in US or UK terminology. It also says here to use 8-ply baby soft wool or yarn. I'm using Diramore's Studio Baby Soft DK. It's a DK, so it's a lightweight 3, or if you're in Australia, it's an 8-ply yarn. Make sure that it is soft baby yarn, because remember these little precious bundles are very fragile, and we need to make sure that we're looking after them. Okay, so that's the yarn. I'm using a size 4 hook, which is recommended in the pattern, which is what I've got here. This is, I actually got this one, sorry. I got this one from Daiso, and I love it. You can see I use it a lot. Look how dirty that end is. I've just realized, oh my goodness. It's because it rubs in my hand all the time. Okay, so it also says, so let's read it here. So the task is to make a small crochet beanie for premmie babies. We need some 8-ply baby soft wool or yarn, 4mm crochet hook. The pattern is written in UK terminology, and we're going to start working in the round. We're going to chain 4, join with a slip stitch into a ring. Okay, so I'll show you how to do that. This is not my preferred way of working, because I like to use the magic circle, but let's show you how to do this. So, slip stitch, we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to slip stitch into that first stitch right back here. So slip stitch is put your hook into the stitch, capture your yarn and pull it through. 2 loops on the hook, but this one here, we're actually going to take that through the loop that's on the hook. So you now have a little circle to work into. So make sure that you're working into the center of those 4 stitches and not into the first stitch. Okay, so then it says, so round 1, you're going to chain 2, which will count as your first UK treble or US double, and you're going to do 11 triples or doubles, depending on your terminology, into the middle of that circle. So let's work in UK terminology, because that's where how the pattern's written. So to do a treble, we're going to put our yarn over, we're going to go into the middle of our circle, capture the yarn and pull it through, 3 loops on your hook, capture your yarn, pull it through the first 2, pull it through the second 2. So that will now count as 2 double crochet, and you will want 11 of, I see I'm going back to the UK. You will want 11 triple crochet into the ring, plus that chain 2 at the beginning, so you will have 12 stitches at the end. So I'll just show you again. So to do a UK treble, we're going to put the yarn over the hook into the center loop, capture your yarn and pull it through, and you'll have 3 loops on your hook. Capture your yarn, pull it through the first 2, 2 loops on your hook, capture your yarn and pull it through the second 2. Okay, so that's what you'll do, and you'll end up with 11 triple crochets plus this chain 2, which will count as 1, and at the end you'll have 12 stitches. Okay, so my preferred method is the magic circle. So to start a magic circle, there's 1,000 different ways of starting this, but I don't understand why it's got to be complicated. A magic circle starts off exactly the same way as your slip stitch, you just don't tighten the loop onto your hook. So we're going to start just like we would a slip stitch. Okay, so we're going to put our yarn over, pull it through, And if you pulled it tight, that would be a slip stitch, but we're going to do a double crochet in the UK terminology, and it's a single crochet in the UK terminology. That one is just going to lock your circle closed. Now we've got 3 loops here. We're going to push this one over, and that's what we're going to work over the top of, those 2 strands of yarn. So we need to do 12 UK treble crochets into our magic ring, or 12 double crochet, US double crochet into the magic ring. Whichever terminology you are using, you need to end up with 12 stitches into your magic circle. So yarn over into the magic circle, capture your yarn, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm struggling, 5, 6. I'm looking through the camera instead of looking actually at my work, and I'm struggling. 7. Oh my goodness, and I'm splitting my yarn. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I've got 12 stitches, and I'm going to pull the tail. I'm not going to pull it too tight. I don't like my pulling it too tight because I like to have space to actually find my stitch, and then I'll close the circle up really tight. So you have to find your first V. Don't get tricked, it's not down here at this chain 1, this V down here. And it's not this one, it's actually this front here is part of your chain. So I want that one, and I want that one. So I'm going to slip stitch. So I'm going to put my tail across the front of my hook as well, because I'm going to work over the top of my tail. And I'm going to pull the yarn through the stitch and through the loop on my hook. And I've joined up my circle. Now I can pull that tail tight, give it a good pull, and that will close that circle right up to close. And now we're going to chain 1, which doesn't count. And I'm going to lay my tail over the back of these stitches so that I can work over the top of it, so I don't have to sew it in later. Okay, so that space in here where we've just worked our slip stitch, we're going to do 2 treble crochets, UK terminology, into that stitch, or 2 US double crochets into that same stitch. So yarn over into that space, capture my yarn working over my tail, and pull it through. I've got 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull it through 2, yarn over, and pull it through the other 2. So that's 1, and we're going to do the same thing into that same space. So yarn over into that space, capture my yarn, 3 loops on my hook, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. So I now have 2 stitches into that same space. Into this next stitch, you can see that it's right here. Yep, you can see it, the next one. So same thing, we're going to do 2 of those triple crochets into that stitch there. So yarn over, work your tail behind, and we're going to do 2 of those stitches into that space, 1 and 2, and we're going to do that all the way around. So we started off with 12, we're going to end up with 24 stitches. So slow and steady wins the race. And just try and keep that tail in between where you're working there. So we've got 2, 4, 6. 7, 8. I'll meet you back when we get to the end. I'll keep going, but I'll just speed this next little bit up. Okay, so we're nearly back at the beginning. We've got one more stitch to go. So we've got 2, 4, I can't see, 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, and sorry about that. And so 2 more in here and we'll have 24. So yarn over, then 2 stitches into that last stitch. And make sure that you don't do this slip stitch down here. Make sure you don't get confused with this chain stitch, but we're going to go into our first stitch of the round and we're going to slip stitch. So it's yarn through the stitch, capture the yarn, pull it through the stitch, pull it through the loop on the hook. So there's round 2. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do round 3. So we're going to chain 1 and we're going to do 1 treble UK treble crochet or 1 US double crochet into every stitch, including the one here where we started from. Okay, so we'll still end up with 24 stitches. So let's go. So 1 in each stitch all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So just continue. I'll speed this a little bit up, but I'll stay on screen so you can see what I'm doing, and I'll meet you back around here somewhere. Okay, we're back at almost the last stitch, and you'll notice that your little beanie is starting to curl, which is exactly what we want it to do. But we're just going to pop it so it goes that way, because this is the outside this is the inside of the beanie. You'll also notice, sorry I keep hitting the camera, you'll also notice that your beginning tail has been totally sewn in and it won't come out. So we just got one more stitch to do, and then we will join this round. So again, don't go into your slip stitch, don't go into your chain one, we're going to go into our first triple crochet, and we're going to slip stitch. So yarn, hook, we'll do that again, hook into the stitch, capture your yarn, pull it through the stitch and also through the loop on your hook. Okay, so that's the end of round 3. Okay, so we've just completed the end of row 3, and we're about to start making the pattern. So you can see the little spaces in between. So we're going to start making the pretty pattern. Okay, so we're going to chain 1, and into that space where we've just worked our slip stitch, we're going to do 2 UK treble crochets or 2 US double crochets. So, sorry, stay on camera, that would be good. 1 and 2. And then we're going to miss this next stitch, this one here. So skip that one, and we're going to do 2 UK treble crochets into the next stitch, or 2 US double crochets into the next stitch. So 2 into that one. Skip the next stitch, 2 into the next one, 1 and 2. We're going to skip the next stitch, 2 into the next one, and we're going to complete the round using the same pattern. So we're going to skip the next one, double 2 stitches into the next one. So the stitch count is still going to be 24 because we're doing 2 into 1 and we're skipping the next one. Okay, so you will still have 24 stitches in each round from this point on, because we're not increasing, we're not decreasing. So skip 1, 2 into the next, skip 1, 2 into the next. Now if I'm going too fast, there are settings in YouTube that you can actually slow it down. You can stop, you can rewind, you can repeat as many times as you need to. Yeah, so we're nearly there. Skip 1, 2 into the next. Hi Lola, my big Luli girls come over to say hello. Hi Luli girl. So 2 into the next. Skip 1, 2 into the next. And you should have a one stitch left at the end. We're going to double slip stitch into the first one of these treble stitches. So slip stitch to complete the round, and that's the first of our little pattern. It's kind of cute. Okay, we're now going to continue that. We're going to do 2 more rounds of this 2 into 1 stitch, skip the next one, 2 into a stitch, skip the next one. So we want 3 rounds of this one all together, and this is for the small size. So with slip stitch, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to go straight back into that stitch, and we're going to do 2 UK trebles or 2 US doubles into that stitch. Now this is where it gets really easy, because you can see exactly where you've got to go, and this becomes the really fast part for me. So I know that I'm going to skip this next stitch, but I'm going to go into the very first stitch of that next little cluster, and so I don't even look at, oh, skip one, I just go into the first of the two of the next cluster. So I'm skipping one, going into the next one, 2 stitches into there. Skipping next one, going into the first stitch of that next cluster, and 2 into that one. Skipping one, going into the first of that next cluster. Oh, make sure you get both loops in the stitch though, would you? Going too fast now. Okay, and we're going to do that all the way around. Once you sit and you make a couple of these, this pattern just gets ingrained into your head. It's so fast, it is so easy, and you can just pump them out really quickly. So I'm really interested to see how many I've actually made. So we've got this one, okay, and so 2 into this one, skip one, 2 into this one, skip one, 2 into this one, skip one, 2 into this one, and this is the last cluster that you need to go into for this round. So it really does work up quite fast, they're so tiny. Okay, let me just grab some more yarn here. And then to finish this round, we're going to slip stitch into this stitch here. So go onto both parts of the V and slip stitch to close. So that is round 5, so row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're about to do round 6, because rounds 5 and 6 is just a repeat of round 4. So last round before we finish off, so we're going to chain 1, and we're going to do 2 UK trebles into that first stitch, or 2 US doubles, and we're going to skip one, so we're going to go into the first of that next cluster and do 2 stitches into that one, so I don't know if you can hear it, but every man and his dog is mowing the grass out there this afternoon. On camera would be great. Again, I'm trying to look through the camera, but then trying to look at it in real life, and I keep pulling it away from the camera, so very sorry. And pull some more yarn. Oh, yarn bath, that'd be right. Oh, it's a bit tricky. I think I just made it worse, but at least I've got something to work with. All right, let's continue this row. So we want 2 in each of the stitches, 2 into this stitch, skip 1, 2 into the next stitch. You know what I mean, we've been doing it for so long now. I say so long, it's not really been that long, these are quite fast to make. And 2 into the next cluster, skip 1, 2 into the next cluster. Make sure too, and I'll just show you in the next one, make sure that you're actually going into the stitch and not just between the stitches. So make sure, don't go in between the stitch, actually pull it apart, and you can see there's a little gap there going under, and you get the 2 strands. That's the stitch. Don't go in between, because it looks funny and it doesn't work. So make sure you're going into the stitch and you're capturing the V, so the 2 strands that make up that V stitch, the V, the top of the stitch. Okay, we're almost there. 2 into this one. Oh, I just realised I've lost the big pom-pom thing off the front of my shirt. off my microphone, and 2 into this one here. Okay, so that is the finish of round number 6. We're going to slip stitch to join, just like all the other rounds, and we're going to do our last round. So round 7, we're going to chain 1, and it's a UK double crochet in each stitch all the way around, or a US single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So we're going to chain 1, and then into that same space where we've just worked, we're going to do a UK double crochet or a US single crochet. So we're going to go into that space, capture the yarn and pull it through, and you'll have 2 loops on your hook. Wrap the yarn and pull it through both loops. That's a UK double or a US single. So we're not wrapping the yarn first, we're going straight into the stitch, capture the yarn and pull it through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull it through the 2 loops. And we're just going to do that all the way around. Again, you should still have 24 stitches at the end of the round, because we're just going into each stitch this time. We're not skipping any, we're not increasing, not decreasing, we're just going straight around. And this UK double crochet or US single crochet is a great way just to finish off the edge. Makes everything look neat and tidy, doesn't matter what the project is. If you finish off your project with a single crochet border, it looks finished. There's no bumpies, no weird bits and pieces. Can't go wrong with a single crochet edging. See, US terminology, single, US, double, UK. In my head I got it right, but when I have to say it out loud I get a little confused. You may have picked that up. Alright, so we're nearly done. And of course, what did I not bring over to the table? I didn't bring any scissors. That's okay. Okay, so last stitch, we're going to slip stitch into the top of that single crochet now. Very sorry, excuse me. It's really important to make sure, let's get up as close as I can, that you don't do the slip stitch, the chain 1. You actually need to go into that very first stitch that you did, and we're going to slip stitch to close, going to do a chain of 1 and pull it out, cut your yarn and then pull it through, and then you can weave your end in. Now it looks a bit funny, winky wonky, but just put your fingers in there and give it a little bit of a stretch. And that is the small size of the premmie baby. Now how cute is that? It's cute, it's beautiful, but you need to think about and put all the love that you can into where it's going and who it's helping. So that is the small one. I'm going to cut my yarn and we'll get in and make a big one. It's not a big one, it's the medium size premature baby beanie, medium. So that's the small. I'm just going to grab my scissors and I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so we're going to make the medium size premature baby beanie for miracle babies, and I'm just going to use change colour. Sometimes the cream and the white can be a bit hard to see, so we're going to go this. So it's still the Durmore Studio Baby Soft DK, which is a lightweight 3, or if you're in Australia, an 8-ply Baby Soft yarn. It's acrylic. So I'm just going to pop that over there, and we're going to start with our slip stitch, not our slip stitch. You can do the slip stitch for chain and slip stitch into the first one to make your ring, but I'm going to do the magic circle again. So it's just the same as you would start your slip stitch. Pull it, your loop through, and we're going to work over these 2 pieces here and our tail hanging out here. So to lock that circle in, we're just going to do a chain of 1, and then we're ready to work into our loop. We're going to do This time, for the medium size, we're going to do 14 UK triple crochets into the circle, or 14 US double crochets into the circle. So yarn over into the circle, pull it through, 3 loops on the hook, pull it through 2 and pull it through 2. So we want 14 of those for the medium size. Three, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8. Just going to pull my circle a bit tighter. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Okay, so I'm going to pull the tail to close my circle up a little bit. I'm not going to make it too tight because I like that little bit of space and room to find my stitch and work into it. So where is my double crochet? Here it is, 1, and there's my 2 stitches, 1 and 2. So I'm going to work over my tail again. So I'm going to put my tail in front of my hook, and I'm going to slip stitch to join, and I'm going to chain 1. We've got 14 stitches. Now I'm going to give that a really good pull, tighten that up. So my circle is nice and tight, and I'm going to work over my end, my tail, so that we can't see it anymore. Okay, so into that space where we've just worked our slip stitch, we're going to put 2 UK treble crochets or 2 US double crochets into that space, just like we did for the small beanie, and we're going to put 2 stitches into every stitch all the way around. So we started with 14, we're going to end up with 28. So just work your way around, 2 into every stitch, working over that tail. Once I get it around a little bit, I like to give that tail just a little bit of a, you can see that it's getting caught up here. So I just like to give that a little bit of a tug, but you don't want to go too tight because it will distort down here. Okay, so we're going to go 2 into every stitch all the way around. And again, pull that tail out of the way. My battery's low, but I've got my mic pack pulled in, so I'm a little bit torn about what I've got to do here. Hopefully I'll get to the end of this round and then I can swap it over. There goes the puppies. Okay, so 2 into this one. One of the things I like about Miracle Babies is, even though it's based in New South Wales, it supports hospitals all around Australia, in all of the states. It has programs for to help premmie babies throughout their preschooling and also throughout their schooling. And as a inclusive practices teacher, I know that those things can be so important, because our premmies sometimes are just a little behind the 8 ball because they've had so much time, extra time outside of the womb, and they're fighting to survive. So they're a little bit of a yarn buff. So, you know, it's great to have that support as parents, as the actual child themselves, to know that there's support, for them. Okay, let me just get into here. So one and another one. Alright, so we're back at this end, this round. And you should have, did I do 2 in that one? 1 and 2. And just double check your stitches, make sure you've got 28. Slip stitch to join. So make sure it's not the slip stitch, the chain one, make sure that it is actually the stitch that you went into, if I can find the other part of the stitch. And slip stitch. Now I'm going to chain 1. That's the end of round number 2. Okay, sorry about that pause. I just had to change microphone over to power cord, and if my sound changes, I'm sorry. Okay, so round number 3, we're going to do 1 UK treble crochet or 1 US double crochet into every stitch around. So we've done our chain 1, we're going to go back into that very first space. Yep, and we're going to do our stitch into that one. So treble crochet UK term, double crochet US term, and into the next stitch is another stitch. So it's just 1 in every stitch all the way around. Again, you should have 28 stitches at the end of this round because it's not an increase row. And you'll also notice too that your little beanie top will start curling inwards, which is great. Just remember, however, that you've got a right side and a wrong side of your work. So we need to make sure that when we finish this round that we point it down and not up, because otherwise we'll be working inside out. Okay, and we're back, and we've got 1 stitch to go. Oh, how about we do the right stitch? And we're going to slip stitch to the top of our work. Not our slip stitch, not our chain 1, but into this stitch, the top of our stitch. And you should still have 28 stitches all the way around. Make sure your beanie, the little bowl, is facing downwards. And we're going to start our next row. It's exactly the same as the small size beanie, where we do 2 into the first stitch, skip a stitch, and we're going to go 2 into the next one. So we've done our slip stitch, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to do 2 UK triple crochets or 2 US double crochets into that same space. So 1 and 2, and because it's not an increase round, we're going to skip the next stitch. Let's see if I can pull it back a little bit more. So we're going to miss this next stitch, and we're going to go into the next one. So yarn over and into the next stitch, and we're going to do 2 into here. 1 and 2. Skip the next stitch and do 2 into the next one. I'm gonna have to go and start the fire shortly. It's getting a bit chilly. Okay, so skip the next one, 2 into the next stitch. Skip 1, 2 into the next stitch. skip one, 2 into the next stitch, you can hear my watch hitting the table. Skip 1, 2 into the next stitch, what's that word? Okay, skip 1, 2 into the next stitch, skip 1, 2 into the next, don't split your yarn. So this setup row is the tricky one. The rest of the rows after this are easy because you're just working into, again, the first stitch of the cluster and skipping the second stitch of the cluster. So you don't even really have to count or look, or just you just know where you're working into. Okay, we're nearly there. So skip one, work into the next one, and you should have 1 stitch remaining in that round. And again, if you count back, you still should have 28. Oh, see, I missed one. You didn't tell me. You still should have 28 stitches in your round. So now I missed that one. I'm going to go back and just double check and make sure that I've got it all right. Okay. Yep. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that first stitch we did. Chain 1, and we're ready to go. In the little one, so we had 1, 2, 3 rounds of the trebles, or the doubles if you're in UK. It's the same as the medium size one. But the cluster stitches, we did 1, 2, 3 rows, and in this one we're going to do an extra row. So there's going to be 4 rows of this 2 together, skip 1, 2 together, skip 1. So that is now round number 4, which is the same as what the other one was. We've just got extra stitches in there. So we're going to do 3 more rounds of this. So we've done our chain 1, we're going to go back into that space, and we're going to do 2 treble crochets into that space. I need some more yarn. There's a bath coming, I can feel it. Oh look, oh my goodness. I tell you, sometimes I just have the best run of pulling from the middle, and there's no yarn baths and everything just comes out smoothly. And then all of a sudden I'll have a run where every skein of yarn I touch, there's a problem. Somehow I feel it's not this skein of yarn. Sometimes I think it might just be me. Don't make me laugh or I'll cough. All right. Excuse me. Okay, got some more yarn out. Let's do our next. Where are we up to? Oh, pull it out, start again. Okay, so we're going to do 2 treble crochets into that space where we've just done our slip stitch. Oh, sorry, keep touching that tripod. 1 and 2. Oh, stop it, seriously. I'm having issues. All right, see if that works. We're going to skip the next stitch, and we're going to do 2 treble crochets into the first of the next cluster. So yarn over into that stitch, and we're going to do 2 into that one, skip 1, go into the first of the next cluster, do 2 into that one, skip 1, go 2 into the next one, we're going to do that all the way around and still have 28 stitches at the end of the row. Okay, so we're at the end of that row. We're going to slip stitch into the top of our first stitch. We're going to chain 1 and we're going to go again. So that's row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got to do this 2 more times. So double crochet or triple crochet into that first stitch, skip 1, 2 crochets into the next stitch, skip 1, and just continue until we get to the end. Okay, so we're at the back at the end of that round. We're going to slip stitch into the top of this one, chain 1, and so that is row 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're on row 7. So we're going to, exactly the same as the last row, we're going to 2 triple crochet into the first stitch, skip 1, 2 triple crochet into the next stitch, just like we've done on the previous 3 rows. And then, so just continue. I'll meet you back at the end and I'll show you how to finish it off. Uh-oh, see a problem? Do you see a problem? I see a problem. I've only got one here. So I'm actually going to stop the video and I'm going to frog all the way back and fix that up, and I'll meet you back at the end of row 7. Okay, so we're almost at the end of row 7 here. And we're going to slip stitch into the top of our very first stitch of the row, round, row, round. Okay, so we've got row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're going to finish it the same as we finished with the small size. We are going to UK double crochet / US single crochet all the way around. So we still need to do our chain 1, and we're going to do our single crochet, double crochet into every stitch all the way around. So we're going to put our hook into that stitch, into that space where we've just done our slip stitch, yarn over, pull it through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull it through 2. We're going to do that in every stitch. So again, we should have 28 stitches all the way around, and that will finish off our medium-sized beanie. And then we will count how many in that bag, plus the 2 I've just made today, of the little beanies I have to donate. I hope that you can follow this. It really is quite a simple pattern, and it's such a worthwhile cause. It costs, a skein of yarn. The baby soft yarn can be anywhere from $4 to $8, and you get quite a few beanies out of them. Even if you just trial and make a couple, I am sure that every single one will be more than appreciated by both the Miracle Babies charity organisation and of course the parents and families of these darling little premmie babies. It's great practice. It's good for learning how to count. It's just simple basic stitches. There's nothing hard, but it's teaching you also how to work in the round. I'm kind of addicted to making these. All right, so I'm back at the beginning already. How quick was that? And not in a slip stitch, not in a chain, but I'm going to into the top of our very first stitch. Sorry, I keep hitting that camera, slip stitch. Oh no, I've got an extra ply. There we go. And I'm going to do a chain and pull through. Cut my yarn and pull it all the way through. Give it a bit of a tug. Again, it's a weird shape. Just put your fingers in there and give it a stretch. And that is the medium beanie. Now, I haven't sewn in any ends. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So, small and medium, really simple, really quick. Like I said, I'm kind of addicted to making these. I just sit there and I just keep pumping them out. And I find I'm getting faster and faster every time I do them. Maybe not today. But here comes the really exciting part. I'm going to tip them all out and find out how many I have made. So let's zoom out. That's as far as we're going. Okay. So let's tip them all out. Now, I have made some with other yarn as well as I've been going, but most of them are Dear Moore's Studio Anti-Pilling or the Baby Soft. Okay, so I have lots. So let's count our 2 from today. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Five, 56, 57, 58. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize I'd made that many. 58. I'm gonna have to make at least 2 more to make it 60, but that's my little donation to charity, and I think I'll just keep a soft ball of yarn beside me and it may be in the car, and so as I might just make a few every month or so and send them off. So again, Miracle Babies Foundation. Crochet tutorials, they are on the website. The pattern credit for this particular one is Valerie Crochet Baby Hat by Mariana's Lazy Daisy Days. There's the Miracle Babies website if you want to jump on and have a look. Thank you for joining me today. Please hit that like button on your way out, because like, what's not to like about these? Look at these, aren't they cute? They were made with Premature bloom, so it's got the flowers built into the yarn already. How awesome is that? So what's not to like? So please leave a like down the bottom. Leave a comment, especially if you've got any questions or you want to know where to send your beanies. And please jump on and have a look. Thank you for joining me today. Please hit that subscribe button on the way out if you haven't already, and also that notification bell. I will be putting on the second pattern that I've come across. So the teeny weeny crochet beanie. How cute is that? It's actually a Karen, so a Yarnspiration pattern. and I want to actually make this first before I do a tutorial, of course, because otherwise there might be something in there that's a bit winky wonky. But thank you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please think about joining in and helping this amazing charity, this organisation that's helping premmie babies and their families all over Australia. And I'll talk to you next time. Thanks very much. Bye. Thanks again for watching. Click the like button if you like what you've seen today, and leave a comment below. Have I inspired you to have a go at your own project? Remember to click on the subscribe icon and also the notification bell so you'll know when I post my next video. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.